G'day everyone. Well, I've done probably about 3 or 4 videos on this car, and I didn't really, they weren't riveting, so I didn't bother posting them. That's why I haven't heard much from me, because I have been doing content, or making content, but they just weren't riveting, they weren't very interesting, so I didn't bother. It was about what I was going to do and the parts I'd bought. Now, I probably should have included parts of it, but hey, I'd rather show you the finished result, because I was going to do how-to videos, but, it's just fitting bits to the car. Well, I mean, you can pick up a workshop manual and read it. I've covered some of the repairs, but, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've sort of been so busy that I really haven't had a chance to sort of cover much. But anyway, as you can see, the car's sort of had a bit of a birthday. The first thing is I've got new tyres on it. It does need an alignment, but it's only been a few days, so it's not going to kill the tyres right now. I got Bridgestone, they call them Ecopias. Don't think there's enough air in them either. I think they actually could do with a pump up by the look of things. They're just standard size for the car. They're 205, where is it? Where's the size? They're 205 by 65 R15s, H-rated tyres, and apparently they're the top of the line non-directional Bridgestone tyre, so not a bad tyre. The ZU2 mags, I don't know if I ever bothered doing a video, but they have been sitting in the lounge room at Kent Street for about, well, that's the house, that is. They sat in the lounge room for about 2 years, and I actually got them fitted to the car, because then I didn't have to pay for disposal fee for the tyres and blah blah. So they ripped out all the old balance weights, which they should have, and they've fitted new weights to it, so that's extremely good. The rims could do with a paint job. There's a few sort of, scratches and things, but when you get back, they look really good. You can't see them. Today I fitted new DBA disc rotors, because the old ones were undersized and they were worn kind of a bit like a Toblerone, if you don't know what that is. Sort of a bit tapered, if you know what I mean. And I fitted, some people might recognise the brand of pad. They're Brembo pads. DBA rotors and the Brembo pads came in a package. They were $118 with free express postage. So I will put in the description a link for all the bits I've put on the car recently. You're not going to see shit, because unless I put jacket right up in the air or put it on a hoist, you're not going to see anything. But I put King Springs low springs on them. I've got Munro GT Sport reduced travel shockers. I've put Nolithane brand strut mounting bushes, so they're polyurethane strut mount bushes. I'm going to touch on a couple of points. If you're going to do it, you really need to spend money. You can't just do it on a shoestring budget, because the reason I did this is basically because the car needed repairing, and it turned out to be basically the same price, if not cheaper, to go on eBay and buy the King Springs / Munro spring and strut package. And before everyone rubbishes Munro and says they're crap, I'd like to point out that Munro shock absorbers are made in Australia, and well, right now at this very moment in time they're made in Australia. So they're Australian made, and by the way, they're OEM equipment for the car, original equipment manufacturers. So the struts that came off it actually had General Motors stamped on the top of it, or GM. Then underneath it, it had Munro Australia and a date. The date was 18th of February 1997. So they had 316,000 kilometres total on all 4 shocks, and only the right front had failed outright, and the left front was leaking, and the rear 2 was soft. So that's not bad. Probably not a marvellous idea to get super lows or ultra lows or whatever you call them, because you're going to sit on the bump stops a lot more, and this gives it a fairly, what I would say, it's definitely, if you have children, you might not do this to this type of car or any other car, because if kids get car sick, or even if your other half gets car sick or whatever, you might give it a miss, because yes, it handles fantastically well. It's better than even a even a brand new version of this would have handled. So it's 30mm lower than standard, or 10mm lower than FE2 for those that are playing along at home, in Australia that is, because you might not know what that means in the rest of the world. So I've replaced all 4 shocks, all 4 springs, both strut hats and strut bearings. If you don't replace the strut bearings, you genuinely are a stupid person, because unless they're brand new and they've only done like 10,000 Ks, you know, the ones that came out of this were screwed. They'd had water in them, they fell apart when I pulled the struts apart. And no, I didn't use spring compressors. I'm not going to do a video on how to do it, because you're likely to lose your head or a testicle if you're a guy. So if you're going to do it, go get a pair of spring compressors and do it properly. You know, they come with instructions that are pretty good. Handling, I'd say, is about an 8 out of 10 after doing the work. Handling before any problems with the shock absorbers occurred, which happened about 12 months ago, I'd say it was about a 3 out of 10, maybe a 4 out of 10. So, you know, it's quite a significant improvement compared to what came before it. So, the other thing I have to fit, oops, stupid tree. The other thing I've got to fit is a adjustable Panhard rod, because of course lowering a car means that the diff's going to sit over slightly, and as you can see by this bag here, you know, look, you can buy cheap ones, but look, my honest advice to anybody at home or whatever that's watching, don't. You know, just don't buy cheap rubbish. It's not worth it. I mean, this is the actual Panhard rod itself. You probably can't see much of it. Actually, I'll open the bag, but look, these Nolithane brand Panhard rods are more expensive. They're more expensive than the cheap ones, but look, there's a much better quality Panhard rod. You don't want to be fitting some cheap piece of crap that's, you know, God knows where it's made, and, you know, this is really good quality stuff. It's also been made recently too, so get that to focus. If you want to put this adjustable Panhard rod on your car, by the way, it does come with the actual bushes too. That's the part number you're looking for, 48153. The stock one's just a straight bar, but if the friggin' camera focuses, you're going to notice this this replacement bar actually has a bend in it. That's to clear a larger exhaust system with a lowered suspension. So yeah, it's got a crush tube in one end and nothing in the other. The crush tube goes to the body mount for the Panhard rod, the other one goes to the diff, I believe. It comes with instructions. Just refer to the instructions, you can't really go wrong. But look, you know, it's really nice and solid. You know, this is a thick walled piece of tube here. Nice quality high tensile nuts. You know, look, it's got everything going for it. The cheaper ones don't look like they'd be very safe, so that's why I've gone out and spent the extra bucks. You know, you can get a adjustable Panhard for, you know, 80 bucks if you want to, but I don't recommend it. I think it's a bad idea, and if you're not going to do it properly, don't do it at all. Just leave it stock if you're not going to get the correct bits. Good quality stuff is the only way to go, because, you know, you've got to, you know, you guys watching at home, and there you go, now you're actually going to get to see my face. You guys watching at home have to remember that you've got to do the work to the car, if I'm even in frame, and you've got to say, well, it's safe. Now, if you're using cheap crap, I'm sorry, but it ain't safe. You've got to use good quality bits. Now, does that mean go out and spend 10 grand on the most expensive stuff you can get? No. But what it does mean is buying good quality components that come with a decent warranty, a decent guarantee, that is. They're not just going to fall apart in 5 minutes, not going to damage your vehicle, and more importantly, not going to cause it to handle in an undesirable way. I'll give you guys an example. The brake pads I had on the front of this were Silverline brake pads. They're from Repco, and I do not recommend the use of any cheap brake pad, especially after actually fitting the Brembo product, because if you're not using something like Bendix are okay, but these Brembo pads are better. Like, you know, no wonder they fit this brand to good cars, like expensive stuff, because, you know, anything else is just a waste of time. Like, the brakes on this are phenomenal. They're really nice and progressive. They're not grabby. They're really, really effective. I haven't laid into them fully because they're still bedding in. And as for the DBA rotors, well, the main difference between DBA rotors entry level, which is what these are, and silver and gold, is the silver ones are slotted and the gold ones are cross drilled. Now, the theory is it helps cool them better and blah blah, and help get the dust away from the pad, and it also helps you know, getting the gas out and stuff. But you know, truthfully, I don't really think it actually helps. I've had them before and I don't see any difference. So, g'day. So, you know, you guys, you know, look, entry-level DBA rotors are good. Brembo pads are fantastic. They're a safety item. You shouldn't be skimping on your brakes anyway. Just the same as when you do a brake job. As you can see, I've used, I've cleaned up the caliper brackets, and where the pads sit on the brackets, I sanded all the contact points so they're nice and clean and not crappy. And then I used anti-seizing paste. You should also be lubricating your caliper slide pins with caliper slide pin grease or a silicone based grease. But anyway, thanks for watching. That's my fairly long-winded update. But yeah, I mean, look, if you're going to repair your car, it doesn't really cost that much extra to modify it, if any at all. In fact, it cost me less than buying components from Repco, but you need to do it properly or not at all. That's the bottom line. The Silverline pads, which I'm going to do a separate video on, the actual pad material has cracks in it. Like, it's not supposed to happen. You know, I've never seen a pad do that. So anyway, thanks for watching.